Today I'm going to talk about one of the craziest things that has ever happened to me, and despite happening 10 years ago, I rarely ever talk about it because it just had such a big impact on me. So when I was a medical student, I was on the trauma service, and we got called to a double trauma. Someone came to Bay A and Bay B. It was a car accident with a 16-year-old kid. He was driving, running from the police because he had been drinking, and he hit a tree and he got thrown from the car. Now, when I arrived, they were intubating him, but he was bleeding internally. It was really hard to stabilize his vital signs, and so we rushed him to the trauma room where he got a midline vertical incision, big opening, and we were looking for his bleeding. They couldn't find it anywhere. The trauma surgeon said it was one of the worst bleeding episodes he had ever seen, and at one point they even cut a hole in his diaphragm, this breathing muscle at the top of the abdomen, and were pumping his heart with their bare hands. So eventually they were able to stabilize him. They took him back to the ICU where he remained for several days. We got to meet the family, and like a movie, which was just really mind-blowing for me, his dad was a police officer and said that it had happened to other people, but he never thought it would happen to him. He had just gotten engaged to be married. He had had a full ride to college, so it was just really awful. And eventually, sadly, they did have to pull the plug. So in all of this, I then kind of inquired, well, what happened to the kid that was in the car with him? What happened in the trauma bay next door that I didn't get to go to? And the really only difference was that the kid that I had taken care of wasn't wearing his seatbelt, but the kid in the other trauma bay was. And at the end of the day, they said, well, in the other trauma bay, the kid that was wearing his seatbelt, they gave him McDonald's and then they sent him home. And so it just has always impacted me to make sure you're wearing your seatbelt, to practice safe driving. And the whole story just really gave me the chills, so I thought I'd share.